One, two, one, two. First time the camera went out, but anyway, um, not first time, but anyway. Um, Shalom, first of all, to the few listeners that I have and those that may get this message. Shalom. And I'm going to try to continue where I left off. You'll see what I mean real soon. Um, First of all, I want to say Yahweh Bahashim, Hamashak Yahweh Rakar Kodash, Bahashim Yahweh. Bless this lesson, Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh. All right. Basically, like I said, I'm going to continue where I left off. And as far as the book of Jasher, and I shouldn't have to really explain it, but I think I am. I'm going to title this The History of Babylon, try not to give it away. And because I'm starting with, since there's not much information about one person in who I'm about to speak about, so I'm going to have to go to and continue where I left off in the book of Jasher. And you know the main two people was 12th chapter of book of Jasher. The main people were Abraham and Nimrod, and there's not much history on Nimrod. So I really don't have a choice but to start with the book of not only the book of Jasher, because that's my favorite, one of my new books, but go into that history. So without further ado, I'm gonna, because this is gonna be might be a long read, so y'all bear with me. And this might be a long lesson, and I might have to break it up in two. So, Shabbat Shalom. And with that being said, I'm going to continue, or Shabbat Shalom, rather. And with that being said, I'm going to start at the book of Jasher, the 12th chapter. And we're going to start at the 45th verse. It reads, and at the expiration of 2 years from Abram's going out of the fire, that is in the 52nd year of his life, behold, King Nimrod sat in Babel upon the throne, and the king fell asleep and dreamed that he was standing with his troops and hosts in a valley opposite the king's furnace. 46th verse. And he lifted up his eyes and saw a man in the likeness of Abram coming forth from the furnace, and that he came and stood before the king with his drawn sword, and then sprang to the king with his sword. When the king fled from the man, for he was afraid, and while he was running, the man threw an egg upon the king's head, and the egg became a great river. And the king dreamed that all his troops sank in that river and died. And the king took flight with 3 men who were before him, and he escaped. And the king looked at these men, and they were clothed in princely dresses as the garments of the kings, and had the appearance and majesty of kings. And while they were running, the river again turned to an egg before the king, and there came the king and flew at his head and plucked out the king's eye. And the king was grieved at the sight, and he awoke out of his sleep, and his spirit was agitated, and he felt a great terror. And in the morning, the king rose from his couch in fear, and he ordered all the wise men and magicians to come before him, when the king related his dream to them. 52nd verse. A wise servant of the king, whose name was Anaku, answered the king, saying, This is nothing else but the evil of Abram and his seed, which will spring up against my Lord and King in the latter days. Now I want to pause there. Y'all pay attention to the names. And of course you see this is similar to the later Babylon, which was during the time of Nebuchadnezzar. The similarities. So once again, but I want y'all to pay attention to the name Anaku, because we're going to go back to that and other names. I'm going to read on, right? And 53rd verse. And behold, the day will come when Abram and his seed and the children of his household will war with my king, and they will smite all the king's host and his troops. Now, his servant was a Hamite as well as he was. Just be clear. That's why I want you to pay attention to that name. And as to what thou hast said concerning 3 men, which thou didst see like unto thyself, which did escape, this means that only thou wilt escape with the 3 kings from the kings of the earth, who will be with thee in battle. And this is very important, the 54th verse. And that which thou sawest of the river, which turned to an egg as at the first, and the young bird plucking out thine eyes, this means nothing else but the seed of Abram, which will slay the king in the latter days. This is my king's dream, and this is its interpretation, and the dream is true, and the interpretation which thy servant has given thee is right. Right? I want to pause here for a second, because I want to go back to the 54th verse. Now, what is this referencing? As a time period, and I might as well go into the Genesis. Told you, this is my favorite book. Genesis. All right, let's go to, I think it's in Genesis. Okay, there's one here. And let's see, 12. No, it's Genesis 14. Yeah, it's referencing Genesis 14. And it came to pass, in the first verse we're going to read from. And it came to pass, Genesis 14:1. And it came to pass in the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elazar, Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of nations. So that's 1, 2, 3. Let me see. 1, king of Shinar. 2, king Arioch, king of Elazar is 2, and 3, Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of that's 4, Tidal, king of nations. Second verse. That these made war with Bera, king of Sodom, and with Bersha, king of Gomorrah, Shinab, king of Edom, and Shemamab, king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, which is Zoar. Okay, that's going into, third verse. All these were joined together in the vale of Siddim, which is the salt sea. 12 years they served Chedorlaomer, and the 13th year they rebelled. Right? So that also goes back into Genesis 9 and 26. Right? And then in the 14th year came Chedorlaomer and the kings that were with him, and smote Rephaim and Ashraf and Karna. I can't say these names are good. Karnaim, Naim, and the Zuzums and Ham. So they all was Hamite. And these was also Ham and Emims. Emims were the giants. And Shavah and Karathathaim. With Kariathaim, okay? Right? So let me jump down to the 9th verse. Cheddar, I'm gonna get his name. Chedorlaomer, with Chedorlaomer, the king of Elam, which is today's the East Indians, and with Tidal, king of nations, and Amarathel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elazar, 4 kings with 5. Right? So that's basically where it's referencing. Right? And it's showing these the kings that he had to war against. I don't want to give it a how you say it, spoiler alert, but I'm gonna continue reading. Right? So these are the kings Nimrod had to fight. But that went off into something else too, because I shouldn't have read too much, but it did go off a little bit to something else, and I'm going to deal with that too. 55th verse reads, and that which thou sawest of the, back in the book of Jasher, 12th chapter, and the 55th verse we starting at, and that which thou sawest of the river which turned to an egg at the first, and the young bird plucking out the eye, this means nothing else but the seed of Abram, which will slay the king in the latter days. I think I read that part. All right, yeah, 56th verse. This is my king's dream, and this is its interpretation, and the dream is true, and the interpretation which thy servant has given thee is right. 57th verse. Now therefore, my king, surely thou knowest that is now 52 years since thy sages saw this at the birth of Abram. Now the sages was another word for the magicians or Nimrod's prophets. Same thing, right? Since thy sages saw this at the birth of Abram, and if my king will suffer Abram to live in the earth, it will be to the injury of my lord and king. For all the days that Abram liveth, neither thou nor thy kingdom will be established. For this was known formerly at his birth. And why will not my king slay him, that his evil may be kept from thee in latter days? 58th verse. And Nimrod hearkened to the voice of Anaku. Anakai. Anakai. Yeah, Anuku, or Anakai rather. And he sent some of his servants in secret to go and seize Abram and bring him before the king to suffer death. And Eleazar, Abram's servant, whom the king had given him, was at that time in the presence of the king, and he heard what Anakai had advised the king and what the king had said to cause Abram death. And Eleazar said to Abram, hasten, rise up, and save thy soul, that thou mayest not die through the hands of the king. For thus did he see in a dream concerning thee, and thus did Anaku interpret it. And thus also did Anaku advise the king concerning thee. And Abram hearkened to the voice of Eleazar, and Abram hastened and ran for safety to the house of Noah and his son Shem, and he concealed himself there and found a place of safety. And the king's servants came to Abram's house to seek him, but they could not find him. And they searched throughout the country, and he was not to be found. And they went and searched in every direction, and he was not to be met with. And when the king's servants could not find Abram, they returned to the king, but the king's anger against Abram was stilled, as they did not find him. And the king drove from his mind this matter concerning Abram. Meaning he forgot about it. 62nd verse, right? I want to pause here for a second. And I'm going to go back because I got to go into my points and other references now. I got to start bringing that out. And Abram hearkened to the voice of Eleazar, and Abram hastened and ran for safety to the house of Noah. 61st verse, house of Noah and his son Shem. and he concealed himself there and found a place of safety. Now I know y'all wondering, yeah, they was all alive at the same time. Yeah, they were still living out Adam years, Noah and Shem. They lived a long time. You already know this if you read your Bible. You already know this, right? They was all alive at the same time, man. They were still living out them Adam years. So y'all already know in the genealogy, the book of Genesis, that how long they lived. They lived a long time. And Abram was the youngest out of everybody at the time. So I tell you, this is a part of history that's not in a other part of the Bible, because the book of Joshua is the part of the Bible. Make no mistake of that. So it gives you the background story, as you can see. So it was some points I wanted to bring out, right? I mentioned Anaku, right? Anaku, the servant. Now they all was Hamites, and this is easy to be proved because, you go back to that name. What was my point? Oh yeah, my point about Nimrod. That's why I got to go back to Nimrod. Nimrod, in case y'all were wondering, was a giant himself. He was an offspring of the fallen angels. He was a giant. And that leads me to Genesis 6. Let me get that out the way real quick. Genesis 6. And Genesis 6 and 1. I'm not going to read. I'm going to go right to Genesis 6. Yeah, I'll read 1. Genesis 6 and 1, I'm going to read down. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and the daughters were born unto him, that the sons of the Most High saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, meaning beautiful, and they took them wives of all which they chose. Now, when it said the sons of the Most High saw, referencing the angels. I'm going to read the second verse again. That the sons of the Most High, sons of Yahweh, saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. Third verse. And Yahweh said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. Showing you a time and point of mark. Because when you look at 120 years, well, who lived up to be 120 years before he passed? That would be Moses. So it's telling you about the righteous line and bloodline, right? Fifth verse, Salakia, fourth verse. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of the Most High came in unto the daughters of men, and bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. And Yahweh saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Sixth verse. And it repented Yahweh that he had made man on earth, and it grieved him at his heart, meaning his mind. And the Most High said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of Yahweh. And I'm going to stop there. That's the 8th verse. So I read down to the 8. I was supposed to stop at 4, but I decided to read on down to the 8 to let y'all get a more understanding. For those who don't have this book of the book of Joshua, which really the proper word is Yashar, because the J, they created the letter J later, but y'all already know that history. Most of you do. So, what was my point? Yeah. So that's showing you that Nimrod, he was those giants was created, and they were around all the way up for a long time. I'll leave it at that. But I'm gonna leave a link too later. That's gonna be put up. So, matter of fact, one of the links is already on my YouTube channel, dealing with the topic of giants. A short video, but I might leave the link in there just for the along with the other link, because I have a link that's more important that deals with this topic. And believe it or not, this topic is really supposed to be about Babylon. But I'm just going into, I have to go into the story of Nimrod because he was the forerunner of Babel. So it makes sense. And I'm also going to deal with some geography. Simple, it's nothing really complicated. Everything is going to line up. I hope y'all should get easy understanding this, right? I'm just dealing with Nimrod right now because, like I said, it's not much history in the Bible about him. So I'm going in the other part of the book of Jasher, which is part of the Bible. Oh yeah, okay. Let's go to just checking my notes a little bit. Let's go to Genesis. Let's go to Genesis because I'm not going to go into the geography yet. Let's go to, we're in Genesis, but let's go to Genesis. Where I want to start. Let's go to Genesis 10. From there, let's go to Genesis 10. And we're going to start at We're going to start at 6. Right? Genesis 10 and 6 reads, and the sons of Ham, Cush, and the sons of Ham, Cush, Mizraim, and Put, and Canaan. Today Cush would be Ethiopia, Mizraim would be Egypt, and Put would be Libya, and Canaan is South Africa. 7th verse. These are the 4 sons. 7th verse. And the sons of Cush, Seba, Havilah, and Sabta, and Raamah, and Sabtakah, and the sons of Raamah, Sheba, and Dedan. Cush begat Nimrod. 8th verse. And Cush begat Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth. 9th verse. He was a mighty hunter before Yahweh, wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before Yahweh. 10th verse. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, and Erech, and Akkad, and Calneh, in the land of Shinar. Right? So that was the beginning of his kingdom. And that would be really in east. Matter of fact, let me get to the maps because I said I was going to go into get to the map. Let's not get another map. What's it? 10. Let me get 10. It's another book that give you more. I gotta pull that out too. I got it nearby. Okay, well you see this is an ancient map, and it shows Ham. It got Ham because I don't know how good y'all can see this. Gotta bring it up close. I don't know how good y'all seeing this. And then above north of what's up here is Jerusalem. You see the areas ancient shows Japhet, and it shows Shem right here. So our lineage go from land go from here to Jerusalem. That was right here. Japhet is on that side right here. This side right here. It's another. I think it was another map I was supposed to get in a book. Let's see. It was a particular map. It's in the 8th chapter. I think it's in the 8th chapter. Yeah. Now this is important because this is real ancient because it showed the Hebrew part of the name. Ham was called Chum. Chum, but they in this book they put an E, put Chem, but it's not Chem. It's supposed to be Chum, Cham. And this is up top. This is showing you Ethiopia, ancient Ethiopia, showing you the north part of Ethiopia and the south part of Ethiopia, which is lands of Cush, which are the lands of Cush in the Bible. Hope y'all able to see this. So I put my finger out the way. Hope y'all able to see this. And this is from the book. They came before Columbus. So I'm gonna reference this a little bit more. I gotta go back to this. It's a certain chapter because. Like I said, my main goal was to deal with history of Babylon and go into some of the geography. So, I'm gonna read. I read some passages here, but one of the things I didn't like, they kept saying, and I was checking it out. They kept saying Negroid. No, and I'm going to show you that's a deliberate misleading, in my opinion, because when you talk about Babel, only one was in Babel, the first ruling kingdom was Hamite, Ethiopians, or Sumerians. The ancient Sumerians were Ethiopians. That's their ancient name. Sumerians was another ancient term. Matter of fact, they called it the Iron Age when you look it up. And I'm just trying to bring out stuff. I don't want to jump too far ahead, but I'm going to hold on to this because this might be one of the first books I referenced, and there'll be one coming right behind that just because of that passage, what it reads in there. And that's the Spirit of the Most High. Now I got to remember where I stopped at in the book of Jasher. Okay, alrighty then. Yeah, I stopped at 61. And I'm going to read that again. And Abram hearkened to the voice of Eleazar, and Abram hastened and ran for safety to the house of Noah and his son Shem, and he concealed himself there and found a place of safety. And the king's servants came to Abram's house to seek him, but they could not find him, and they searched throughout the country, and he was not to be found. And they went and searched in every direction, and he was not to be met. Oh yeah, it was the 62nd verse. It says, and when the king's servant could not find Abram, they returned to the king, but the king's anger against Abram was still, as they did not find him, and the king drove from his mind this matter concerning Abram. So meaning he forgot about him. So all right, you can't find him, leave it at that. So 60, and that was the Most High doing that to him anyway. Get him off Abram, which is Abraham. 63rd verse. And Abram was concealed in Noah's house for 1 month until the king had forgotten this matter. But Abram was still afraid of the king, and Terah came, which is his father. Terah is his father. And Terah came to see Abram, his son, secretly in the house of Noah. And Terah was very great in the eyes of the king. But y'all know why he was very great in the eyes of the king, because Terah was an idol worshiper, and it tells you that in the Bible. That was Abraham's father, Terah. He was a damn idol worship. He was today we call it 2/3 niggas. Well, I ain't gonna say that, but he was an idol worship. He was in a wickedness. He was an idol worshiper. He did what the heathen did, the Hamites did. He was heavy into it. So that's why he had favor with the king, which was Nimrod at the time. So, it says 64th verse. And Abram said to his father, does not thou know that the king thinketh to slay me and to annihilate my name from the earth by the advice of his wicked counselors? So this is what Abram asked his father Terah. Terah, 65th verse. Now whom hast thou here, and whence hast thou in this land? Arise, let us go together to the land of Canaan, that we may be delivered from his hand, lest thou perish also through him in the latter days. 66th verse. Dost thou not know, or hast thou not heard, that it is not through love that Nimrod giveth thee all this honor, but it is only for his benefit that he bestoweth all this good upon thee? So this is what Abram is asking Terah. Because Nimrod was a crafty devil, man. There's more chapters in here you got to read, but that was a devil, man. And you see why he was so rebel to the Most High, man. He was evil Hamite, man. He was, like I said, he was the offspring of the giants, and we're gonna but he was a killer, man. You see what it says in the Bible? He was a killer, cold-blooded, calculating killer. Okay, and if he do not be greater good than this, surely these are only vanities of the world. For wealth and riches cannot avail in the day of wrath and anger. Well, I heard that precept up. It's in the book of Proverbs. So they all learned from their forefathers, Abraham. He was the first to quote that. You see? Now, I wouldn't have known that if I didn't read, right? 68th verse. Now, therefore, hearken to my voice, and let us arise and go to the land of Canaan, out of the reach of injury from Nimrod, and serve thou Yahweh, who created thee in the earth, and it will be well with thee, and cast away all the vain things which thou pursuest. 69th verse. And Abram ceased to speak when Noah and his son Shem answered Terah, saying, True is the word which Abram hath said unto thee. So let's say the great I gotta say it that way. The great forefathers had to speak up. Noah and Shem, and they telling Terah, which is Abraham's father, they telling him, listen. He's like, wait, saying, True is the word which Abram hath said unto thee. And Terah hearkened to the voice of his son Abram, and Terah did all that Abram said, for this was from Yahweh, that the king should not cause Abram's death. So they understood that this was the Spirit of the Most High speaking through Abraham, and Terah didn't listen until Noah and Shem spoke to him. That's when they considered it. Like, whoa, yeah, man. So we got to respect the elders, man. Our forefathers, our foreparents, man. They did great wonders, and they was chosen, man, by the Most High, most of all. So I didn't expect to go through that fast, through that, because I'm going to go back. I'm not done. I am not done. Because we're going to go back over, now we're going to go, because that was a read-through, really. And now we're going to go back, and we're going to get some understanding of not only Abraham, but and I got some more to bring out, and we're gonna go into I'm gonna have to go into the 13th chapter too. Yeah, so you gotta remember that. Right. Let's see. I can remember I dealt with basically Nimrod. Let's go to Genesis 12. Now we're going to go into some geography a little bit. I'm going to bounce around. Let's go to Genesis 12. Go back to Genesis 12, rather. And let's read from 1. Now, before we go to 12, we're going to go to Genesis 26. And then we're going to go back to Genesis 12. Genesis 26. Got some points I want to be out. A lot of points I want to bring out, actually. Genesis 26. And we're going to read from 1. Do we got to read from 1? Yeah, Genesis 26 and 1. It reads, "And there was a famine in the land beside the first famine that was in the days of Abraham, and Isaac went unto Amalek, king of the Philistines, unto Gerar." Now, I bring that out for another, say 2 reasons for now. One reason we're dealing with the geography. He said, unto the Philistines, unto the land of Gerar. Where Gerar? I say Gerar. Gerar. So we're in Genesis 26 and 1. That's my question. Do y'all know the land of Gerar? We're going to answer it. Don't worry about it. Second verse. "And Yahweh appeared unto him and said, Go not down into Egypt. Dwell in the land which I shall tell thee of." So he's telling Isaac, don't go into Egypt. Go to the land where I tell you to go. Where I tell thee of. Third verse. "Sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee, and will bless thee, for unto thee and unto thy seed I will give all these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swear unto Abraham thy father." Well, y'all should figure it out by now, right? "And I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and I will give unto thy seed all these countries, and in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Because that Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, and my statutes, and my laws." 6th verse. "And Isaac dwelled in Gerar." 6th verse says, "And Isaac dwelled in Gerar." So it's too many clues. Y'all could pretty much figure out what's the land of Gerar is by now. And the men of the place asked him of his wife, and he said, "She is my sister," for he feared to say, "She is my wife, lest said he, the men of the place should kill me for Rebekah, because she was fair to look upon." So, and it came to pass, when he had been there a long time, the Amalek king of the Philistines looked out a window and saw, and behold, Isaac was sporting with Rebekah his wife. So we already know what he said, what Isaac did. He did the same exact thing Abraham did. And there's more to this too. He feared the Hamite, the Africans, and said, "Oh, this is my sister." He did the same thing, boy. The Most High, you can't tell the Most High ain't got a sense of humor. This same thing happened with Abraham, and this is Isaac we reading about. Isaac did this to the Hamites, and he said, "This is my sister." So we already know how this gonna go. So 8th verse it reads, "And it came to pass, when he had been there a long time, the Amalek king of the Philistines looked out and went." Okay, we read that part. Okay, I'm going to jump down to the next verse, 9th verse. "And Amalek called Isaac and said, Behold, of a surety she is thy wife. And how sayest thou, She is my sister? And Isaac said unto him, Because I said, lest I die for her. And Amalek said, What is this thou hast done unto us? For one of the people might lightly have leaned with thy wife, and thou shouldst have brought guiltiness upon us. And Amalek charged all his people, saying, He that touches this man or his wife surely be put to death." So it didn't go down because he said mighted. He said might. So And Amalek said, what is this thou hast done unto it? In 10th verse. And Abimelech, rather, I said Amalek, it's Abimelech, Salakia. And Abimelech said, what is this thou hast done unto us? One of the people might lightly have lain with thy wife, and thou shouldst have brought guiltiness upon us. And also judgment. That's what he really meant. That's what he's really saying. But so he gave the order, hey, nobody touch his wife. He that touches this man or his wife shall surely be put to death. Because why? They knew the judgments of the Most High. They knew what happened back with Abraham and Sarah. They know the history. It wasn't too long ago. Because remember, Isaac is the son of Abraham. So it's just one generation away. They knew what time it was. That's why they feared and he gave that order, man. So, yeah, man. It's a lot more I got to cover, but where I was going to go, it was something I was bringing out about that. Because we read, I basically made my point about the geography of the land, Jerah. So we all know the land of Jerah is the land of Canaan. And I'm trying to remember my maps. Okay, I showed one map. And well, this is an ancient one. I showed this, but I'm gonna show it again. This is an ancient map. And actually, this would be considered one of the maps of the Iron Age. Okay, which are the first kingdom of actually, it's in this book, and part of it, because you can see the spelling. All right. It's in the 8th chapter. Hold on a second. Bear with me a minute. I got to show you this map again. Yeah, because the spelling. See how they spelled it? They spelled it C-H-E-M. That's how you know this is an ancient map. And this is showing a part of Cush. So I'm going to show that again, which is so-called Ethiopian today. The lands of Cush. This would be considered like close to the Iron Age map. And this is showing you the land of Ethiopia. The top part, Chem, which is it's spelled C-H-M, Chem, but its really proper term is Chem. That's the ancient term for the name of Ham. We say Ham in English. And Nubia is south of Ethiopia. Nubia, which means Great African or whatever. They changed the term, Great African, whatever. But this is the ancient map. This is far the part of the east side of the part of Africa. But this is an ancient map too, because it's showing you the Garden of Eden, Mesopotamia. I'm saying it wrong. Pardon me. Mesopotamia. And you're probably saying, well, what is the point? I'm going to show you. Because everybody's familiar with it. Remember, and I read from the top part, the Babel. Because what? People focus east. And don't get me wrong, everything started there. But now we're going to go a little deep. Let's go to, where my other note at? Let's go to, oh man, it's a thing, man. It's this one. Let's go to Genesis. Yeah, get used to it. Because remember what it said. You got to know your past. You don't know your past, you ain't going to know your future. And we're dealing with the earth. You keep it short. Not just the cradle civilization. Let's go to Genesis 10, and we're going to go to a book everybody should have now. Right? Genesis 10. We was already in there, right? Genesis 10, yeah, we were. And now we're going to go back there. Genesis 10. And this time we're going to jump from 10, because we read history of Nimrod. Now we're going to jump from there to the 25th verse. It reads, and Eber, We in the Bible, the Holy Bible, Genesis 10 and 25. And unto Eber were born two sons. The name of one was Peleg. For in his days was the earth divided, and his brother's name was Joktan. So it was Peleg and Joktan, the son of Eber. Right? And you said, what are you reading that for, brother? Well, I'm gonna speed you up. It said, Eber was born two sons. The name of one was Peleg, for in his days was the earth divided, and his brother's name was Joktan. So I said this further in book 2. But I always said this. We was always named after events or characteristics. In book 2, and we're going to start at the second verse of the 14th page of the Babylon and Timbuktu book. See? Everybody should know this book. If you didn't know the other one, you should have this book. If you're new in the truth, should have this one of the first books of reference you should have. All right? Babylon and Timbuktu, page 14. And it reads, we're going to read the second verse. Second verse. Dr. Spicer, who was a professor at the University of Pennsylvania, said, there is no basis for deterring of Gihon to Ethiopia. He meant the Ethiopia in Africa. Now, why is he making that reference like that? You're going to find out why real soon. He meant the Ethiopia in Africa, and that's in the brackets. That's in brackets he put that. All right? Not to mention the Paisan and various remote regions of the world. Now, these names are mentioned in the Bible, mind you, right? In Genesis, in the creation, I think the first or second chapter. Second chapter, probably. Rebel Harold, we're going to finish. Not to mention the Persian and the various remote regions of the world. I agree with Dr. Spicer that we should not search for the Gihon in Africa, nor for the Persian in a remote area of the earth, but that we should search for the Persian and the Gihon in the Tigris-Euphrates Valley. There were two Ethiopian nations in ancient times, Eastern Ethiopia and Western Ethiopia. This point, Dr. Spicer failed to elucidate, possibly because of an oversight. It wasn't. There was an Ethiopian civilization in southern Mesopotamia, Babylon, but the people in this region did not use their tribal name, Ethiopia, to designate their nationality. They called themselves by the name of the cities that they constructed and inhabited, or they called themselves by an event that happened there. For example, God confused the language of the people at the Tower of Babel. And Babel means confusion in Hebrew. This is why the Ethiopian tribes called themselves Babylonians, referring to the name of the city that they constructed. There are many nations that are designated by their true nationality. For example, White Australia. Okay, we're going to go into that, but I was supposed to stop at name of the city that they constructed. Right. So, and that's true statement he said. He said, they usually named by an event, as we just read in Genesis 10 and 25. Peleg You got to ask yourself, and it's important. That Genesis 10 is very important. Why? Because what happened before the great earthquake? It was with Noah's ark. Right? Matter of fact, you got to go back to the 9th chapter. What happened in the 9th chapter of Genesis, the Holy Bible? What happened in the 9th chapter? It tells the story. Y'all still can see me, but it went off on my end real quick. It went off. I don't know why it's doing that all of a sudden. It's Satan. Anyway, prior to that, in the 9th chapter, tells you the story of Noah and his sons. There was a great flood. Why did the Most High have to flood the earth? Because of all the wickedness the fallen angels was doing. The offspring of the fallen angels was doing. We read that in Genesis 6. That's why the flood had to come about. And it tells you. He said it in Genesis 6 chapter. I'm not going to strive wrong with man. Oh no, I'm going to get rid of this wickedness. And the reason why the flood had to come, because it had to drown those big giants that was mountain size. That's why I said I'm going to leave a link, and it's going to further prove my point. And there's books called the Fossils of the Mudslide and different reference books in that video, proving that the Bible was true and happened. So you got to ask yourself, what lands? The land of Babel, the Tower of Babel. Who tried to reach up? And remember, by the time Nimrod came on the scene, this was after the flood. Nimrod tried to build the Tower of Babel. Why? Because he was mad with the Most High that all his descendants and offerings, he was flooded in the flood. He was mad. That's why he got the name Nimrod, and means rebel. He was rebel against who? The Most High. That's why the Tower of Babel came about. And you already know the story. The Most High confounded the languages. he said, you light work. I just destroy your communication, buddy. And did not. And let's go back to Genesis 10 and 25. Let's read Genesis 10 and 25, because I already got close to an hour already. That's how time went past. Genesis 25, we're going to read again. He said, and unto Eber were born 2 sons. The name of one was Peleg, for his days was the earth divided, and his brother's name was Joktan. Right, so he was named after the event, the vine, which the earth was divided. Peleg. You say, what was divided? Not only did he added fuel to the fire, he said, you know what? I'm going to send the earth, I'm going to add fuel to it. Not only did he give a flood, he said, guess what? This is going to be your first earthquake. Here you go. And what kingdom he separated? He separated the earth because of wicked. South part of Africa. This is Africa. But when it was divided, whoop, he divided who? This part. This is the east, and this is the west. What's the west? Oh, this is the other part of Mesopotamia and Tower of the land of Babel. We just read in the book of Joshua too. There you go. South America and Central America. Yeah, put them together. Boom. Yeah, it's like a puzzle. Let me let y'all look at the world map real quick, because y'all should know how I look. I'll get you one. Because this is not that old, this map. Because the land is divided. So you see, south, yeah, that's what I'm getting at. I don't know. Can't say spoiler alert. We halfway through my class now, man. So, might have to bring that back up. I know that surprised y'all, right? He said, he got to bring out the map. Yeah. That's how the land was divided. And that's why you're going to see the link. I'm going to leave the link. It's going to give you the answer. It's going to confirm what I'm saying. So Esau knew this history. He kept quiet about it, played dumb like he didn't know. But he knew. He had to know. Hey, he still has the earth. Job 9:24 reads what? Let's read it. I know how to read. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. The Most High gave it to him because he was going to be the first to rule when you read the story in Genesis 20, which he's been doing over 500 years now. And he at the end of his rulership. And we in a time of the last days, the latter days that everybody referenced from the book of Joshua to the Holy Bible. Real quick, I'm going to confirm it for edification. We're going to get Job 9:24. I don't want to leave no stones unturned, but that's why it's going to be, got to be another part to this. Boy, why am I, maybe I'm talking too much, but why am I finding it hard to find Job 9? What is up with that? It's before Psalms. Job 9 and 24 reads, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Man, he covered, y'all already know how this breakdown, understanding go. He covered up our faces. He covered up history, man. He put, you say, hide something from a black man, put it in a book. He put it in books, changed history. And I'm going to prove, too, in that other book where he went off in this book, and he kept saying, using the term Negroid. Negroid. Damn that. It ain't no Negroid calling us, calling Africans Negroids. No. This guy he did this deliberately. Negroid. No, it wasn't no Negroid. It was Africans. See, he's a liar. It says, cover up the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Hell yeah, he did that, man. Kept referring to this thing of Negro. No, it wasn't Negro. It was Hamites. It was Africans. They was the first ruling kingdom, the Ethiopians, and the Bible can prove that. You know what I'm saying? So, I got to go back to this anyway. We're going to go. It proves this, something he brought out. There's some points he brought out I wanted to go into real quick. This idiot kept saying, 4 Negro heads showing the heads. No, they wasn't Negro. They was Hamites. Now, this was a part I want to read. This is the 149th chapter, not chapter, 149th page. What chapter is this? The 8th chapter? No, 9th chapter of They Came Before Columbus. The African Presence in Ancient America. So he tell you in the title it's an African presence, but when you open a book, he starts saying Negroid. Get the hell out of here. Ain't no Negroid. They Hamites. They African. They show you a double-tongued serpent, a fork-tongued serpent. Right? We're going to read page 149 and the... I'm going to read, rather, not... Yeah, I'm going to read, not we, but I'm going to read page 149 and page chapter 9. I think it's, wait a minute, let's make sure. Let's see, I don't want to call the wrong one. Y'all say, oh, no, it's not, Bella. It was the other chapter. Yeah, it's the 9th chapter. And we're going to one page, 9th chapter, page 149. This is what I wanted to read. so I can move this along. The Olmecs were a people of three faces. That is, a people formed from three main sources or influences. This is the second paragraph on page 149 in this book of They Came Before Columbus. The Olmecs were a people of three faces. That is, a people formed from three main sources or influences. One of these faces was Mongoloid. Elements of the Mongoloid strain may have come into Americas from Asia even after the famous glacial migration across the Bering Straits, but they would have blended in distinguishably with Ice Age Americans. I'm going to go back to that. The second face or influence was Negroid, which is not Negroid, it was Hamitic. The third suggests a trace of Mediterranean Caucasoids, some with Semitic noses, probably Phoenician, but this will be shown to be related historically to the second. Related to the second. Well, I'm going to clear that up for y'all. These faces became one face to which the broad name Olmec was given. Right? I think it necessary to make it clear, since Protestants and scholarships, that the emergence of the Negro face, which archaeology and the cultural data overwhelmingly confirm. Okay, no, I don't stop there where it says, he says, to which the broad name Olmec was given. Now let's go back. He said the Olmecs were a people of three faces. That is, people formed from three main sources or influences. One of these faces was Mongoloid. That part is true. And he couldn't understand why they had different faces. But if you look at the title, let's get clear the title. It says African Egyptians' Presence in Ancient America. Right? And this is the book for They Came Before Columbus. Right? So let's clear this up. He was right. There were Mongoloids. Let's put the puzzle together. Who was these Mongoloids? They came in 1421, a book called The Year China Discovered America, 1421. He didn't want to bring this up, but this way he couldn't put the puzzle together, because this was published in 2002. 1421. That's 71 years before Columbus. But they knew the history. He was just being a jackass. And I say that because when you read the beginning of the book, it tells you the history of America Vespucius and Columbus, how they conspired together, how they was going to bust down what they found and what they was going to give the queen. So they knew what times. The spoiler alert, it is what it is. But I forgot to say that. But anyway, it says the second face of influence was Negro, which we all know was Ham. I said it many times in the beginning. This was a Hamitic image. When you look, I'm going to prove that. Let's go to the 8th chapter. Look at the images. And look who he compared it with. This guy knew. Esau's a devil, man. He knew. I'm going to show you. It says, look who he compared it to. It's funny, they don't got this page number, but it's in here. It's in the 8th chapter. It said the plate. It said, compare head of Nuba, chief from Kenya, with the Olmec Negroid, stone head. Now check this out. Nuba is an African, referring to Nubia, but they say Nuba, being a bastard. See? These was clearly Hamites. And then we're going to go with another one. He says, these are the heads that he found. He found at least 4 of them like this. And where's this? In so-called America. Now I'm going to show you. Play. It's compare head of Nuba, chief from Africa, with Olmec Negroid head. You said? From Africa. So why he keeps saying Negroid? He's a devil. He try to call us the blacks here. No, man, we came later. These was Hamites, and Ham ruled first. We used to tell you that story in Genesis. The Ethiopians, Cush was Ethiopian. He had the earth first, man. They was the first ruler, Babylonian kingdom, man. This Hamite look close to the image than anybody. We had, and when you read, they had wide noses. Why? Because they was the sun people, man. They was around that sun. They had them wide noses, man. When you read us, we came way later, man. The Bible tells you that. So where's Esau trying to pull on us? Everybody know the first ruling kingdom was Cushites, was the Sumerians. Tells you that in the Babylon Timbuktu too, as well. Right? So I wanted to show that. I'm not finished. Yeah, and the author of this book is Gavin Menzies. Gavin Menzies. He got another book I got in here too. I ain't gonna show that one. Ha ha. But anyway, let's finish, man, cause I ain't finished. I'm bouncing back and forth with the two main characters is Abram, and this is another book that tells you about the mystery Babylon. I want to bring out a point. And the cover of this book, a lot of Hebrews got this one too, called The Two Babylons. Two Babylons by Alexander Hislop. And you can get this book anywhere. Two Babylons by Alexander Hislop. And I just want to go to page 20, or page 21 rather. Let me see. Yeah, page 21. And it's I'm going to read from there. It says, mystery of iniquity as described in 2 Thessalonians 2:7. Let me see. Mystery Babylon the Great, Revelation 17:5. That's Paul's counterpart in the Church of Rome. No man of candid mind who impression made by the account on the mind of the great Sir Matthew Hale. I don't know where you're going with that. I don't know who that is right now. It basically gives you all the Bible references in this book. This is a good book. I like it because it gave you a lot of Bible references in this one. But yeah, what was my point of bringing? It was two Babylons. That's why, two Babylons. Golden cup in her hand, Revelation 17:4. We already know that. Making all nations drunk with the wine of her fornication. And wine is lies. And also, we already know with everything else that comes with it. The whole ways of America, politics, immoral behavior, and everything else. Yeah, so we pretty much living that out. Not living it out, but we know of it, for meaning like that, what I meant. We know of it. All right, let's go to, I'm not finished with Abraham. I did Nimrod. I pretty much think I covered what I was going to cover with Nimrod, right? And I went into the maps, the geography, mentioned the great earthquake. Oh yeah, it was something else, a spoiler alert. When you read in the book of Joshua, it also tell you the history. Not only did he as like repeat the same thing, tell you most I got a sense of humor. Not this part, but Rebecca also was barren. I think you can find that in the book of Joshua. I know that, and you can find that in I think it's the because some of the chapters are similar to the chapters I went in the Bible when I was quoting. That's why I don't want to get it confused. But let's see. Okay. Also, you can go into. I'm gonna go back to. Yeah, she was barren. That's what I tell you. I'm trying to find a. Oh yeah, this is the point. Man, I didn't even write this one. Well, I marked it in here, but uh, gotta mention the death. It mentions on page 56 in the book of Joshua the death of Abraham. Abraham, and our people are highlighted, and all the 32nd verse, and all the inhabitants of Canaan, and all those who had Abraham. All the inhabitants of Canaan and all those who had known Abraham wept for Abraham a whole year, and men and women mourned over him, and all the little children and all the inhabitants of the land wept on the account of Abraham, for Abraham had been good to them all, and because he had been upright with the Most High and men. That's why the book of Joshua means upright one. Because our forefather Abraham and the people mourned, the heathen mourned for him for a whole year. That's how well beloved he was. And I'm gonna read some more characteristics of Abraham. Who's that? I'm gonna jump to 37th verse. Check this out. It says, and he formed a grove, and he planted a vineyard therein, and he had always prepared in his tent meat and drink to those that passed through the land, that they might satisfy themselves in his house. Who we talking about? Abram. And Yahweh delivered the whole earth on account of Abraham. And it was after the death of Abraham that the Most High blessed his son Isaac and his children, and Yahweh was with Isaac as he been with his father Abraham. For Isaac kept all the commandments of Yahweh as Abraham his father had commanded him. He did not turn to the right or to the left from the right path which his father had commanded him. So he kept listen to his father, man. Isaac listened to his father Abraham, and the Most High blessed him because of that. And he blessed him because of Abraham, promised to Abraham. We all know that, right? So Abraham was no joke, man. And we're gonna see some more why the people love him. Showing he was a good person. We're gonna read some more in the book of Josephus about Abraham. Now check this out. Our forefather Abraham, in the book of Josephus. I'm gonna do this in. I think I had this wrote down too. 8th chapter and the 7th verse. It reads, "Let those that live as remote as the bounds of the land." This is the book of Josephus. Everybody should know this one, right? And chapter 8, verse 7 reads. It's called the Antiquity of the Jews. It says, chapter 8, verse 7 reads, "Let those that live as remote as the bounds of the land which the Hebrews shall possess, come to that city where the temple shall be. And these 3 times in a year, that they may give thanks to Yahweh, his former benefits, and may entreat him for those that they shall want hereafter. And let them by his means maintain a friendly correspondence with one another by such meetings and feastings together. For it is a good thing for those that are of the same stock and under the same institution of laws, not to be unacquainted with each other, which acquaintance will be maintained by thus conversing together, and by singing and talking with one another, and so renewing." I'm not reading the right part. It's a lot. I'm not reading the right part. I thought I had it. This is not the one. It said renewing was. This is not it. This is something else. But this is talking about the feast days and how we should come together. But that's not my point I wanted to bring out, though. I'm bugged. I can't believe I did that. Boy, it's in this book, though. Man, I thought I had it marked off already. I guess it's another passage I marked off, confusing me. All right, give me a moment. Bear with me. I'll try to find it quick as possible. I don't expect that. I thought I read it. I got confused with another one I marked off. Man, this is embarrassing. Bear with me, man. I can't believe I did that. Man, that's how far. I thought I had this mark. I thought I had this. I wrote it down, and I should have. I assumed, but I should have read it ahead of time. I thought this was the only one I had highlighted that day. Obviously, I didn't. Must have did it with a different ink too. I hope it was the same. It's probably what got me confused. Oh boy, same marker. I don't know. That's why it's important to use different markers, not use the same one all the time. It's a thick book. Man, I thought I had this already. I had marked. Well, I thought it was it, but it was already marked off. But I thought that was it. But you know what? I'm gonna have to get back to that. This is embarrassing, man. I can't believe this. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get back to it. Get back to y'all on that. But this was a reference I was supposed to bring out in the book of Josephus. Basically, it was saying how the Egyptians had Abraham in veneration, which means great admiration. It's in this book. So I can at least tell you that, right? Since I can't read it. This is so embarrassing, man. But anyway, so moving right along. But this was one of the other books I was going to bring out. I think so far I covered most of the ones I wanted to bring out. Okay. That fell. All right. Yeah, I think I covered basically most of the books I was going to bring out. And I don't know if I covered all the points. Boy, I'm messing up here. Y'all bear with me. We're going to go back real quick. This is pretty much wrapping up. Pretty much at the end. Pretty much wrapping it up, I think. Let me see my notes. Yep, I brought this points out. I brought these points out already. That one, let's see. Oh, no. Jeez. Oh, boy. So bad. Yeah, I basically said what I was going to say in the first part. I still got some precepts we still can go over that I did not cover dealing with Abraham. And, oh, yeah. That's very important. Let's go back. No, I did read that part about the, oh, yeah, I wanted to cover something over this in Joshua 12. And it was something I wanted to bring out in 13 about the king. Well, actually, I mentioned that, but you can find that in the 13th chapter. Y'all can read that on your own in the 13th chapter, right? Now we're gonna go to into some precepts dealing with we read about Cush, some of Cush, and oh yeah, we're gonna read probably the last few precepts. Oh man, I guess I do gotta go to it. These are the last two. We're gonna go into Genesis 14 real quick, and then we're gonna Genesis 14. Yeah, Genesis 14. Everything is in that chapter. It's the last one, Genesis 14. So y'all bear with me a few minutes. Did this far, and it's gonna be broken up in two, so don't worry about it. Genesis 14. We're gonna start at let's see, because I don't want to miss. Yeah, Genesis 14. We're gonna start at 1. We're gonna jump. We're gonna read 1 Genesis 14 and 1. Salak, I'm not even in Genesis. I'm in wow. I'm saying it, but I'm not. Wow. Let's go back. Genesis 14. Now we're in Genesis 14. Well, I am. I know y'all probably beat me there. Yeah, Genesis 14 and 1. And actually, I do got to read this because it deals with, thought I wasn't, but it's Book of Joshua. I keep forgetting. A lot of people probably don't got this book, so I got to go in there. And it matches, in Genesis 14 matches with the Book of Joshua. Actually, I should read Joshua because yeah. But the scripture links with that is Genesis 14 chapter, and I'm gonna read from the Book of Joshua first because y'all might not know a lot of you probably don't have this book, the Book of Joshua. This is for those that don't. Okay, if you do, all good. Genesis, Book of Joshua, the 13th chapter, and we starting at the 12th verse. It reads, in the 10th year of Abraham's dwelling, in the land of Canaan, there was war between Nimrod, king of Shinar, and Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Nimrod came to fight with Chedorlaomer and to subdue him. And we know the king of Elam today would be known as the East Indians, or India, or the land of India, which is the East Indians. 13th verse. For Chedorlaomer was at that time one of the princes of the host of Nimrod. And when all the people at the tower were dispersed, and those that remained were also scattered upon the face of the earth, Chedorlaomer went to the land of Elam and reigned over it and rebelled against his Lord. So basically it's telling you the story when the Tower of Babel, it says, and those that remain were also scattered. So it says, let me read up a little bit. It says again, and when all the people at the tower were dispersed, and those that remained were also scattered upon the face of the earth. So when it says tower, it's referring to the Tower of Babel. And this is what happened. And in those days, when Nimrod saw that the cities of the plain had rebelled, he came with pride and anger to war with Chedorlaomer. And Nimrod assembled all his princes and subjects, about 700,000 men, and went against Chedorlaomer. And Chedorlaomer went out to meet him with 5,000, and they prepared for battle in the valley of Babel, which is between Elam and Shinar. See? 15th verse. And all those kings fought, and Nimrod and his people were smitten before the people of Chedorlaomer, and there fell from Nimrod's men about 600,000, and Mardon the king's son fell amongst them. And Nimrod fled and returned in shame and disgrace to his land, and he was under subjection to Chedorlaomer for a long time. And Chedorlaomer returned to his land and sent princes of his host to the kings that dwelt around him, to Arioch, king of Elasar, and Tidal, king of Goyim, and made a covenant with them, and they were all obedient to his commands. Showing you what? That the East Indian took over the rulership of the land. They conquered, put Nimrod to shame, man. And I also was the Most High doing that because of Nimrod's pride and his rebellion against the Most High, talking big stuff. And it tells you in the scripture he raises up king and bringing down him. What's that in 2 Samuel? We was in Genesis 14. I tell you this goes along with Genesis 14. I'm going to skip around because I basically tell you the chapter. I'm going to go to Genesis 14. We're going to jump to the 3rd verse. All these was joined together in Vale of Siddim, which is the Salt Sea. And 12 years they served Chedorlaomer, and in the 13th year they rebelled. So I give you the more history of that story here too in Genesis 14th chapter. Okay, I'm going to jump down to the 9th verse. It says in the 14th chapter of Genesis, it reads, with Chedorlaomer, the king of Elam, and with Tidal, king of nations, and Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Ariak, king of Elasar, 4 kings with 5. And the vale of Sidon was full of slime pits, and the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled and fell there, and they that remained fled to the mountain. And they took the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah, all of Gomorrah, and all the victuals, and went their way. And they took Lot, Abram's brother's son, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and departed. And they came one that had escaped, and told Abram the Hebrew, for he dwelt in the plain of Mamre, an Amorite, brother of Eshul, and brother of Aner, and these were confederate with Abram. So it goes into that story. Also, you read down, it goes into when he meet Melchizedek, 18th verse, it says, and Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of the Most High. And he blessed him and said, blessed be Abraham of the Most High, power, possessor of heaven and earth. And blessed be the Most High God, which hath delivered thine enemies into thy hand. And he gave him tithe of all. So Abraham gave Melchizedek, priest, king of Salem, tithe. So for Abraham to give him tithe, he obviously knew who he was. So this goes back. See, I'm going back now, right? This goes back. It shows you that they told their history to their sons. And he told the history to, of course, Isaac. Isaac told the story to Jacob. So how do you know? Let's go back. You know I got to do it. Genesis. Let's go jump ahead a few chapters. Genesis 32. Genesis 32. Genesis 32, verse 24. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint, as he wrestled with him. And he said, let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. And he said unto him, what is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For a prince has thou power with Yahweh and with men, and has prevailed. And Jacob asked him and said, tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And he said, wherefore is it that thou dost ask after my name? And he blessed him there. 30th verse. And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen Yahweh face to face, and my life is preserved. 31st verse. And as he passed over Peniel, the sun rose upon him, and he halted upon his thigh. Right, so it said, 30th verse said, and Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen the Most High face to face, and my life is preserved. How did he know? Why did he know and say that? Because what his forefathers told him, what Isaac told him, what Abraham told Isaac. That's how he was able to identify. Okay? Because we see the similarities, right? So with that, I'm going to say shalom. Most High bless. Anything I may have not had covered, man, I'm looking at pieces now. It's some